Hi everybody, I'm Jennifer from Golden Touch. I wanted to do a follow-up video today on feeding your puppy and setting up routines. So a lot of people ask me, when do I feed my puppy? Where do I feed my puppy? How do I feed my puppy? So let's talk about routine and consistency. It's real important that your puppy understands the rules and they know what to expect from you. And everyone in the house has to be on the same page and they have to follow the same routines. And that applies for anything, for potty training, for feeding, for crate training, and any obedience work that you do later on with your puppy. It's so important that everybody's on the same page so that it's so consistent for your puppy that they cannot fail. So when I have a young puppy that I'm working with, I personally rarely ever feed from a bowl. I use feeding time as an opportunity for training. They're really motivated because they're really hungry. And you can go through and teach start teaching some basic obedience. Teach them to take food gently from your hand. If I don't have a lot of time, I'll set aside, a portion of their kibble, and use that as training. And that way, you don't need to use extra treats or, I don't like a lot of the commercial treats and things. They have a lot of additives that aren't so good for the puppies, extra sugar and other ingredients. So if you use just their kibble, usually the puppies are very motivated by that. So, in the off chance that I have one that isn't highly motivated by that, I'll just give them some boiled chicken or something like that, something natural. But so I'll set aside some of the kibble or use the whole portion for a quick training session. It's a good way to build a bond with your puppy. It also teaches them to, be gentle and respectful of you. It will just naturally alleviate some of the biting and mouthy behaviors that a lot of people experience with new puppies. So, I'll ask them to sit. The moment that they sit, you need to mark that behavior. If you have a clicker, you click, or I just use a marker word. So if a puppy sits, yes, then reward. You give them some food. And the timing is really important. Puppies learn within 1 second. And not just puppies, dogs in general. So, the moment that they do the behavior that you want, you have to mark that behavior. And then you have a few seconds to, hand them the kibble. I keep it in my hands, and I'll give it to them, but you have some time. You don't have to give them the food right away, but mark that behavior. So the puppy sits, yes, give them a treat, which is their kibble. It just teaches them respect. If you do feed in a bowl, and I do that too on occasion, and especially for the older dogs, because they already know the rules. But I put the bowl down and I expect them to wait until I tell them okay, because until I give that command, that's my food. I own it. And that just teaches respect, and it prevents them from being dominant over their food. I make sure that they're okay with me having my hands around it, that they understand that I own that food and I can take it back at any time. So that eliminates a lot of the aggressive behaviors that some people see with the puppies being protective over the food and things of that nature. I try to stagger feeding times, unless it's something that, say you have to leave for work at a certain time every day. you know, of course, then you have to stick to that schedule. But maybe in the evening, you know, stagger the feeding time a little bit so that they learn to wait. And you know, that's what puppies are ingrained. It's ingrained in them to do. Um, you know, think about when they're little tiny and they're with their mama. You know, their only job is to wait until food comes. You know, they have to wait. They have to learn that they don't get everything when they want it. So it's real important. You know, I don't like them to get pushy with it. So, you know, I do stagger feeding times when it's possible. Um, and, you know, make sure that they know that you own that food, that it's not their food until you give that to them. And just make sure you're a strong pack leader, and you should have some good successes. So if you have any questions on this, please feel free to message us, and be sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram, and follow along. Thanks so much.